Viewers, good evening. I don't want to mince my words tonight. Viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's diplomatic prowess has led to India's global prominence. Think about it. India has emerged as a significant player on the global high table, and there is no hesitation in putting India's interest first. Viewers, over the last 2 days, Modi's meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Chinese President Xi Jinping have underscored India's strategic autonomy and diplomatic heft. PM Modi's diplomatic finesse has been evident in his ability to navigate complex geopolitics. He has skillfully managed relationship with rival powers, leveraging India's strategic autonomy to advance national interest, India's interest. The meetings with Putin and Jinping very clearly demonstrate India's willingness to engage with diverse nations, defying the traditional alignments. Under PM Modi's leadership, viewers, India's global footprint has expanded significantly. The country has strengthened its ties with Western nations while deepening engagement with Eastern partners. India's membership in the BRICS and SCO blocs underscore our commitment to multilateralism and global cooperation. Modi's diplomatic approach, viewers, has been characterized as the India way, a unique blend of pragmatism and principle, and not to forget the cultural diplomacy. Modi's diplomacy, viewers, has maintained a delicate balance between competing interests. India has walked a tightrope between US and Russia while navigating the complexities of the India-China relationship. Viewers, Prime Minister Modi's diplomatic masterstroke has catapulted India to global prominence, but as India's global heft rises, the opposition here is not too pleased. They can't see beyond electoral politics. Look, for instance, how the Congress trivialized PM Modi's diplomatic efforts and compared it to a Bollywood film. Yes, viewers, the Congress hurled the DDLJ jibe, the Shah Rukh Khan starrer Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. Beyond the rough and tumble of domestic politics, is there really nothing that Modi's Mazboot diplomacy has achieved? They would have us believe that. Or is Modi under attack for putting India first? That's the debate. Sample the reactions.
5 साल के बाद हमारी ये फॉर्मल मीटिंग हो रही है। हमारा मानना है कि भारत और चीन के संबंधों का महत्व केवल हमारे लोगों के लिए ही नहीं, लेकिन वैश्विक शांति, स्थिरता और प्रगति के लिए भी हमारे संबंध बहुत अहम है।
China and India are both ancient civilizations, major developing countries, and important members of the Global South. We are both at a crucial phase in our respective modernization endeavors. It best serves the fundamental interests of our two countries and two peoples.
Принять целый ряд важных решений, направленных на дальнейшее совершенствование деятельности объединения и укрепление многопланового сотрудничества в его рамках. У нас такие отношения, что я считал, что вы и так все понимаете.
हमारे इतने रिश्ते हैं कि मुझे ऐसा लगा कि आपको कोई अनुवाद नहीं चाहिए।
प्रधानमंत्री जब जा रहे हैं तो भारत के हितों का ज्यादा ध्यान रखें, फोटो फ्रेम का कम।
PM Modi met 18 times with Xi Jinping and claimed that he was his friend. And PM Modi does more drama than diplomacy.
आप जैसे जिम्मेदार चैनल से मैं ये उम्मीद करता हूँ कि जब हमारे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी विदेशी दौरे पे जाया करें तो आप सवाल पूछा करिए, अडानी अपने लाडले के लिए कितना बड़ा बिजनेस वो सेटअप करने गए। इसके अलावा ना तो देश की सीमाओं से कोई मतलब है, ना ही किसी घुसपैठ से मतलब है, ना ही देश की समस्याओं से मतलब है।
You heard the reactions. Let's quickly open this up. Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tushar Gupta, political analyst. Captain Alok Bansal, director, India Foundation. Lokesh Jindal, Professor Mondal, both political analyst, and Kamruzaman Chaudhary completes the panel. Lokesh, should diplomatic efforts be dismissed as a Bollywood film? What is wrong with the Congress party? What is the DDLJ jibe at the Prime Minister?
Well, good evening, everybody. Foreign policy isn't supposed to be merely a policy, but it must also be effective. From the last 5 years, since the March 2020 engagement, we have seen that we have failed to restore the status quo that existed in March 2020. Now, any form of a dialogue or an engagement which is not effective enough to restore the interests of India, or which is not able to secure national security and national interests, will not be of any use or effect to us. On what basis are we to justify that the engagement is fruitful, that the engagement is productive? But then what we see on the ground
Lokesh, on
is
what
right
basis
now,
have you concluded? And by the way, this is for our viewers who are watching this. By the way, viewers, the Congress statement, the DDLJ jibe, came even before the Modi-Jinping meeting had begun. So some informed source in the, I don't know, in Xi Jinping's camp, called the Congress party to tell them that it will not be fruitful. And that is what Lokesh Jindal is also repeating. Tushar Gupta, should we be jumping to conclusions? I mean, in this case, just imagine the statement comes while the PM is abroad and even before the meeting has begun.
Good evening, Pranesh. Look, what different can you expect from the Congress? Last week, they were siding with the separatists harbored in Canada. Before that, they have been seen meeting the ambassadors of countries who are engaged in a standoff with. So China taking a contrarian stand to the Indian government is no surprise. It's absolutely no surprise. In fact, today, Congress is expected to oppose everything that is good for the country. But Congress cannot be expected to understand the intricacies of foreign policies, for they are infamous for giving up Indian lands, as Nehruji did in 1962. But Pranesh, understand the significance of this meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping. 5 years have passed since they last met. In those 5 years, the domestic political capital of both the leaders has transformed completely. While Xi Jinping struggles with the faltering domestic economy, and only last week China had a big fiscal injection into its economy. The economic situation is quite bad right now, and it's unfortunate that it doesn't get the attention it really deserves. But look at the Prime Minister on the other hand. An unprecedented third consecutive term, our economy, our macro fundamentals are going strong. So look at the domestic political capital these two leaders are bringing since 2019. We have had 2 years of pandemic, a supply chain crisis, the Russia-Ukraine war, and now these two leaders are engaging. And let me be very clear about this, Pranesh. People might think that India is probably reluctant or probably submissive in this entire arrangement. It's not. Today, China needs India more than India needs China, because an Atmanirbhar India is very much possible. It's still going to go on. That pursuit is not going to stop. But where does it leave China? It leaves them isolated in the diplomatic affairs. You look at how the Quad is evolving, and we might have a Trump presidency a fortnight from now, which won't be easy on China. So China is also securing its larger global interests, and that is where India comes into play. But can you expect Congress or its spokespersons to understand all these intricacies? Absolutely not. They just want to find an excuse to bash the Indian government, the stance of our nation, and that's all they can be expected to do.
No, they must bash the Indian government, but it has to be substantive, based on something. At the cost of repeating myself, you can't be jumping at shadows. You can't. Let's get a non-political voice here. Lokesh, I'll come to you. I'll just come to you. Let's quickly put this in context. Captain Alok Bansal, what are we talking about, sir? Has Modi's diplomacy, his diplomatic efforts, not yielded anything concrete?
See, firstly, we need to understand that these efforts, you will come to know what the results is only when it succeeds. It takes a lot of efforts. Prime Minister Modi has taken an initiative which is unprecedented in India's diplomatic circles for last 7 decades. He's trying to build a bridge between Russia and Ukraine, two warring nations, which is not an easy thing, which many other countries have tried and failed. Now, that is what the globe is looking at. As far as making up with China is concerned, it's even more important. And as Prime Minister Modi said, when India and China actually collaborate, this is not only in the interest of our two populations, but also in global interest. What actually has fructified, we'll come to know a little later. Already, day before, Foreign Secretary gave a statement that the two forces have withdrawn and we will restore patrolling as it existed before April 2020. So if that is the case, that's a big achievement which we have done. That standoff, the long standoff that existed on the borders has been done away with. We are actually meeting Russians. We are also meeting the West. We are probably the only country which every other section of the society is trying to meet. Now, political barbs are probably driven by political compulsion. So I wouldn't like to comment on what Congress spokesperson says or BJP spokesperson says, because they are driven by their own party's interests. But the fact is, what Prime Minister Modi has achieved, and this BRICS summit is undoubtedly a resounding success. Before that, rapprochement with China is a big, big achievement. And the way we are going forward, and this meeting with President Xi Jinping is phenomenal. I think this would be able to transform the relationship differently, and we hope things will return to the way they were earlier.
Okay. Captain Bansal, stay with us. You know, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I'm reading from this statement issued by Jairam Ramesh. It says, this sorry saga is a complete indictment of Modi's gullibility and naivety regarding China. He made 5 official trips to China, held 18 meetings with the Chinese premier, including a friendly Jhula session on the banks. I mean, is this the language to be used? When the Prime Minister is abroad, he is not representing the BJP or the RSS. He is representing India, Bharat.
Well, Pranesh, I hope you permit me 30 seconds of my time in your show.
साथियों, पूर्वी लद्दाख में जो हुआ उसको लेकर आपने रक्षा मंत्री जी और विदेश मंत्री जी को सुना भी और प्रेजेंटेशन को भी देखा। न वहां कोई हमारी सीमा में घुस आया है, न ही कोई गुस्सा हुआ है।
Well, Pranesh, why I played this, you know, yesterday we were all gaga that there is a lot of rapprochement with the Chinese army, and basically there is a understanding on the border issue. Now, it's indeed very worrying as an Indian that the Prime Minister comes on television and says that nobody has entered our Indian territory. Then why this agreement from being a line of control to the line of actual control, to the agreed line of control in the border with the China? The first and foremost thing that I want to put out here, Adani was given the mining rights of lithium in the Kashmir Valley. Having failed to mine any lithium from the Kashmir Valley, I that time said that now the problem with China is going to be solved. In this year's budgets also, it was very much evident when all import duty on lithium ores to India was waived off. It was brought to a 0%
now,
export
import
now
duty.
That and you see,
1 minute, Mr. Chaudhary,
China is the
Mr.
most
Chaudhary,
important.
1 minute. Now that you know, 1 minute, sir, it's interesting, and you know, I'm not surprised. You've injected Adani angle into this foreign policy discussion. If the Congress party so, against Adani, and no, 1 minute, sir, why is Mr. Reddy, the Telangana Chief Minister, your Chief Minister, sir, doing business with Adani? Why is he taking money from Adani? Why?
Even we take money from Ambani also, we take money from the Tatas also, but
and then abuse Ambani and Adani
of the system that is
Tushar Gupta,
India.
Tushar, quickly.
Fact checks, Pranesh, fact checks. Number 1, the lithium deposits were found in the Riyasi district in the Jammu division. Number 2, the lithium deposits had who is going to mine them have nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with the heroic efforts of the Border Road Organization in the strategic areas of Ladakh. These are two very, very different things, and I don't know why Kamruzaman Chaudhary is confusing two very important issues on national television. Number three, if Congress was so worried about Ladakh, can they tell us why in 2013 their defense minister on the floor of the parliament said undeveloped borders are safer than developed borders? And Pranesh, we as a country are paying the cost of not developing strategic areas in Ladakh, the basic infrastructure around the Pengongso Lake for 60 years. And today, Kamruzaman Chaudhary of the Congress party sits here and says, oh, they are doing it because of the lithium deposits. My good sir, a bit of common sense. If India has indeed found its lithium deposits, what good would it be to trade with China right now? If we can be self-sufficient in all the technologies that require lithium, why do we require China? If you're going to forcefully connect the dots, at least make it sound smart for the sake of it.
No, forget the finesse in what has been said. Rahul Gandhi, his fakery has been caught out. And who fact-checked him? Dr. S. Jaishankar. And I'll tell you, give you an example. Monojit Mondal also joining the debate. Good evening, Mr. Mondal. Rahul Gandhi had put out a tweet. This is June 18th, 2020. How dare China kill our unarmed soldiers? Why were our soldiers sent unarmed to martyrdom? Dr. Jaishankar responded to this tweet. He said, let us get the facts straight. All troops on border duty always carry arms, especially when leaving post. Those at Kalwan on 15 June did so. Long-standing practice as per the 1996 and 2005 agreements not to use firearms during face-offs. Lokesh?
Pranesh, the question is, while there are hostilities between two states, would you be promoting trade between them or would you be imposing trade embargoes? After 2020, the imports from China jumped to $106 billion. But the exports from India to China stagnated at $16 billion. Our MSME sector, it has got destroyed because of Chinese imports. Almost every sector is bearing the brunt of Chinese imports. But did the government put any form of embargo or barrier for Chinese imports?
Right.
No. We submitted to China.
It's a, it's a great point that you can write in an UPSC essay. 1 minute. Lokesh Jindal, 1 minute.
No.
When the
Pranesh,
Congress was signing that MOU in
sense.
2008, 1 minute, sir, the contents of which are not public yet. Syed Zafar Islam, the Congress had a problem with hostility. The Congress is now objecting to truce talks. How will you answer them?
Well, everyone knows, Pranesh, that Congress is only critical to the Honorable Prime Minister. No matter how he brings laurels for the country, he achieves something which looks unachievable. He put India on global map as a very strong leader. He advocates India's pride to the nation, to the global community. And yet, Congress party always has taken these opportunities to criticize and somehow downplays his achievement. But the world acknowledges his achievement. Today, world acknowledges India as a country which has no more a soft nation but emerged under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister as a very strong nation. And that is why the Honorable Prime Minister is able to advocate something which is important for the global community and for the society and the humanity at large. Today he advocated peace. He is the one who has been seen not only by the American president,
right,
by other global leaders.
Right. The difference is, Professor Mondal, I want you to come in on this. The difference is that now India is, India does not hesitate.
Just a second. Just a second.
Farid. Okay.
Farid, let me complete. Give 10 seconds. Don't give 10 seconds. Otherwise, I will get up. You are discussing for 25 minutes. You are giving 10 minutes and digressing to some other thing. Let me just complete. All I am trying to tell you that even the global leaders, including the President of the United States, feel that it is the only Modi ji, the Prime Minister of India, has the ability to bring two warring leaders, the Ukraine and Russia, together and somehow advocate peace. He will be able to bring peace in many other places where there is a conflict, because they see that India is in a position, and that is a position which has never been exploited by any other leader of India but the Honorable Prime Minister. So he must, the Congress party must acknowledge his contribution, how he has built the image of India, and on the global platform, India has emerged as a very strong nation led by the Honorable Prime Minister, and that's why people have started taking India seriously and the leadership of India.
Okay, India has now been taken seriously. Manojit Mondal, what is the problem in the recent rounds of diplomatic efforts? Why is the opposition saying things like DDLJ?
I mean, even today, as we are talking, Pranesh, the people of Bangladesh are suffering. The Hindus of Bangladesh are suffering. Even today, there is fresh rouse of agitation still going in the streets of Dhaka and many parts of Bangladesh, and Hindus are suffering. What is the Hindu Hriday Samrat doing? If he is such a strong leader globally, India is, hugely impacting global politics. So what is he doing? Both these two countries that the Prime Minister is apparently talking to, China and USA, are involved in the Bangladesh trouble. Everyone knows. Even you held debates on that. So why can't Mr. Prime Minister, 56-inch, Hindu Hriday Samrat, convince the American friends and the Chinese friend to lay off from Bangladesh? Why? So Bangladesh has remained one of the greatest friends of ours for nearly 40, since the beginning of Bangladesh in 1971. If the Prime Minister is such an impactful leader, he must impress upon that. And let's, for all these, tom-tomming about Prime Minister's success, let us also acknowledge that Galwan remained a failure of diplomatic ties of which India and China. And that's why so many of our soldiers went to martyrdom. Now, after 4 years later, you are talking. That's fine. We are welcoming that talk. But at the same time, Mr. Prime Minister...
No, so Professor Mondal, should we not welcome the thaw?
China and USA,
should we not welcome the thaw? What are you trying to say? Should we not welcome the thaw?
No, I'm saying yes. Yes.
What has resulted in... Sir, 1 minute. Professor Mondal, look, I'm sure you understand what goes on, in ensuring that an agreement is reached or that there is consensus. Should we object to the thaw?
I'm welcoming this.
Then what are you objecting to? If you're welcoming this, what are you objecting to?
Should talk to both, because it was too little, too late.
Okay, too little, too late. Tushar, quick comment. Lokesh, I'm coming to you.
Was defending.
Fact number 1, Lokesh Jindal says we have hostilities with China. Yet the leader Lokesh Jindal represents goes to foreign universities and talks about the greatness of Chinese manufacturing. I don't know why. Number 2, the speaker before me said it's too little, too late. I want to ask how. Today, I just explained the political capital of Narendra Modi in the domestic arena is far greater than what Xi Jinping enjoys. Anyone who remotely follows the Chinese economy would know that. But what does the Congress stance on this? Do they want the hostilities to continue? Do they want the Chinese to assert themselves? Do they want that the Indian side should not build infrastructure in Ladakh and on areas across the LAC? Because the Congress is seen backing Sonam Wangchuk, who, mind you, is indirectly against infrastructure development in Ladakh. So what is the Congress stance on India and China diplomatic
relationship?
Lokesh,
answer that. Syed Zafar Islam also said that, look, we've never enjoyed the kind of, global heft that we are seeing right now. And this is obviously a reflection of the leadership.
Pranesh, after Chinese intruded into our territory and they consolidated the gains, what the Indian foreign policy should have been to restrict Chinese imports, arm twist the Chinese so that they go back to the status quo that existed before. Rather than that, if we do not do anything against this form of an intrusion, it shows our inability to react to such form of an aggression by the Chinese. It's a failure because at that point of time, the Chinese economy was under stress. The government, if it would have shown little bit of metal, it could have simply arm twisted the Chinese to go back
when the
to
government
the status quo.
shows metal, when strikes take place, 1 minute, there are people from opposition who demand proof. Now that, we're talking about an agreement, possible thaw, you are doubting it. Captain Alok Bansal, how do you say, Tushar, I'll just come to you. Okay, Tushar, make your point. Captain Bansal, let Tushar just make his point.
3 fact checks. Today we are seeing the Chinese go back to the pre-2020 status quo. Number 2, the Indian government responded to Ladakh by 1, curbing FDIs from China into India. There was a separate law that was carved out during the first wave of COVID that borders, countries sharing land borders with India won't be allowed to directly invest in Indian companies. Number 3, we have been blocking a lot of digital apps. Those digital apps which are not just a user nightmare, they're also a security nightmare. Right? So when Lokesh Jindal says that we should have arm twisted them, we did. And number 4, if he's linking the Chinese economy with imports to India from China, Lokesh needs to understand that India is a very insignificant trading partner of China. So if we had followed the Congress logic, it wouldn't have really mattered. What really mattered was restricting FDI, which the government immediately did post Galwan 2020. So I don't know why they are peddling these lies on national television.
Okay, Captain Bansal.
I think in this political rigmarole, a lot of facts get distorted actually, and we need to understand. When somebody said, but Prime Minister said that they have not encroached, that was a true thing. Please understand the line of actual control is a perception which 2 countries have different, and our patrols have been going to a certain level and their patrols have been coming. Now, when this standoff happened, the patrols were not being permitted to go across. It was not that they had encroached into our territory or something like that. So what has now been restored is that the patrols will be able to go as hitherto to the extent where they used to go. They used to go and come back. It is not that Chinese have come back. This fact needs to be understood. And it's a big, big achievement. Please understand this has actually taken a lot of efforts, a lot of diplomatic maneuvers to bring and reach this sort of a position.
No, you are calling it an achievement, Captain Bansal. The refrain is that this is too little too late.
No, they can keep saying that. I'm not trying to get into this because, as I said, when you have a political slugfest, people have actually no idea of what the facts are and they'll make comments based on anything. As far as imports are concerned, please understand most of the Chinese imports are pharmaceutical APIs and other raw material which our industries use to export to other countries. If we are the pharma producing hub of the world, it is primarily because we are getting API. Similarly, now that we are transforming into green energy and the world is talking about India's transformation to green energy, many of the chips that we are getting are still getting from China.
Right.
It's not that digitization is not taking place, it's taking place, we are doing it. But we cannot at one moment abruptly distort the imports completely. Because that
we have to take these realities in our stride while we analyze these things. Syed Zafar Islam, to those who say that, look, what the Prime Minister does in name of diplomacy is only drama and photo opportunity, what would you tell them?
Well, they're completely seen as ignorant by the people who understand the diplomacy. They do not understand the diplomatic move a country moves purely to achieve a certain objective. And it's not only the diplomacy what they can see. There is always a back channel diplomacy, track to diplomacy, which is always at play. And this is what India has been consistently doing, and this is a big achievement what we have achieved, the announcement of petroleum 2 days ago. And those who cannot understand the significance of that are the ones are totally ignorant, completely ignorant, and has no right to even speak about diplomacy or the ties between the 2 countries, or diplomatic ties, how it can be improved, and in a global level, how India is diplomatically achieving many objectives which they have not been able to achieve in the past. There are a few things which I think everyone should understand, and particularly the Congress party, that they had never ever protected India's interests while dealing with other countries. India, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, this is what we keep telling everyone that we have never ever compromised with our interests. We have safeguarded our interests, we have advocated very firmly our interests, and we have been able to achieve our objective in every single platform where it needed to be achieved. How we have achieved? Yes, of course, there are diplomatic ways,
right.
there are diplomatic means, and we have used every possible tools to achieve that objective.
Let me quickly inject a historical perspective. Dr. Ambedkar had said this in the Rajya Sabha. Listen to this, viewers, carefully. India sanctified the Chinese military occupation of Tibet by accepting it as a region of China in the 1954 Sino-Indian Agreement on the Trade with Tibet, as that agreement enunciated the principles of peaceful coexistence, the Panchsheel. This is Dr. Ambedkar. Who was the Prime Minister? Jawaharlal Nehru. On November 7th, 1950, Patel wrote a letter to Nehru pointing out how the Chinese troops' entry into Tibet earlier that year resulted in a situation that, for the first time after centuries, India's defense has to concentrate itself on two fronts simultaneously. Patel had suggested we have to consider what new situation now faces us as a result of the disappearance of Tibet as we know it and the expansion of China up to our gates. So people who are, you can't even wrap their heads around the LAC and how it functions, and what Captain Bansal was talking about, that it's a perceived line, are now being sanctimonious, are being preachy against what the Modi government is trying to do, Tushar.
Pranesh, I'll give you the example of how Congress has defeated Indian interest. You know, in 2015 or 2016, the early years of the Modi government, it was Ajit Doval who raised the concern on a national security front about APIs, which is active pharmaceutical ingredients that we import from China. In 2020, when the hostilities peaked, the first thing the Modi government did was introduced a production-linked incentive manufacturing scheme for API, so that the API production comes in India. In terms of pharmacy, we are Atmanirbhar. What did the Congress do about that PLI? They opposed it. What did the Congress do when API production from 90s to early 2000s moved out of India very swiftly and almost became insignificant by 2014? They did absolutely nothing. So today when Congress sits here and says, oh, we should have arm-twisted China, oh, it's too little too late, someone should question them. What were you doing during the 10 years of UPA?
No, they did arm-twist China. That agreement that nobody knows about was arm-twisting Beijing. Professor Mondal, you know, let's make this simpler for our viewers who are watching this. Professor Mondal, if peace talks are on the table, what should we do? Dismiss them?
If peace talks are on the table, we must welcome. But I am trying to understand the palpable achievements of this government in the last 4 or 5 years, ever since Galwan till Bangladesh. Why are you excluding Bangladesh from your discussion? Because keeping in mind the people of Bangladesh, especially the persecuted minorities of Bangladesh, you had a law. That law had to be, kept in abeyance for 4 years. And now when the people of Bangladesh really need your support, in every sense of the term, even the
palpable achievements of the Modi government. Lokesh,
because China is...
You wanted to add something.
Yes, my dear friend Tushar should know that he said that India is an insignificant partner of China. But you know, India is the largest 6th trading partner with respect to Chinese export. The volume of the trade in 2023-24 had been $117 billion. So get your facts right before you come out with the rhetoric. When I'm talking about India and Chinese trade, has the PLI been able to give any rise to the India's export to China? Do you know what is the volume of trade or what is the volume of export from India to China?
Lokesh, how do you think the volume will come down overnight? 1 minute. The volume will come down overnight.
It's not overnight.
How do you reduce the deficit? How?
Pranesh, why has it stagnated? Why isn't there a policy to improve the exports from India to China? Tell me, it has been 10 years. What has the measures been taken? And the only ruin, the ruin of MSME sector is only due to Chinese goods.
So you believe these actions are mere tokenism. Syed Zafar Islam, answer that specific question, sir.
See, again, I will repeat the same thing which I had said earlier, that India and China, earlier the kind of relationship we had with China, that it was like a big brother, and he was pushing everything in India to his throat, and we were willingly accepting, even giving our land. Now they have recognized that whatever expansionist approach they had in the past and demonstrated to Nehru and other Congress Prime Minister during Congress regime, they have been able to push it through. Today, they have realized that it is simply not possible. There is a government, there is a leader who knows how to protect and safeguard its interests, and that's why we have been able to demonstrate our strength and might in Galwan and given them befitting reply, something which they had never tested in the past. Today, India is seen by the Chinese authority that India has to be dealt differently, and that differently is something
India has
which
no
was
pushover.
evident
Kamru Zaman Chaudhary ji wants to say something. Yes, sir. Tushar, I'll come to you.
Thank you, Pranesh. I believe in a debate there should be equal opportunity. There should be equal opportunity for every side to be heard on your television channel. But anyhow, when I mentioned Adani, you shunted me out for the good part of your debate.
I did not shunt you out, sir. How dare the anchor shunt you out? I asked you, what would you say to what is happening in Telangana?
No, that's the question. 10 years in power, the Modi government has been a disaster with regards to the foreign policy. We have got enemies all across India, from Bangladesh to Nepal to Bhutan to Pakistan to China to Sri Lanka to even a tiny Maldives. We have strained our relation with Canada, with the United States of America, with most of the Palestinian supporters in the world, and we call ourselves the leader of the global south.
Sir, can I ask you something? With your permission, Kamru Zaman ji,
thousands of kilometers of our Ladakh region.
You know, as silly as it sounds, sir, as silly as it sounds, Kamru Zaman ji, just answer two questions. You know, of the countries you mentioned Maldives, Canada. Now, is it a crime to put national interest first? How have we sabotaged our relations with Canada? Today, enlighten the viewers, sir. How?
I'm coming to that.
By calling out the Khalistanis, the patronage that the Khalistanis enjoy?
No. The back channel diplomacy that Tushar was mentioning out here must have been going for a good part of 1 to 2 years out there. The point is that Canada, being a very important strategic partner of the West, and in turn with India, why have we antagonized the Canadian government and the people out
antagonized?
there?
You should be Kamru Zaman Chaudhary ji. Sir, 1 minute. Let's at least for a moment, sir, please. Let's put politics aside. Canada under Trudeau allowed, 1 minute, sir, allowed the glorification of killers of Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi. Have you forgotten that? You are putting the onus on India. You should be calling out what Trudeau has been doing. His dalliance with terror. Tushar.
Kamru Zaman Chaudhary ji, Justin Trudeau has the unique distinction of pissing off both Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So you can very well imagine what his credentials are. And to my dear friend Lokesh, the crowning jewel of the intellectual display of the Congress, the source you quoted to say that India is the 6th largest partner of China at $117 billion US, did you not check that source that it also says 3.6%? Did you not check that America, which is trading worth $500 billion in terms of Chinese exports, posed tariffs on the Chinese economy, and yet it did nothing to collapse them? Has Lokesh Jindal forgotten that post Galwan 2020, it was the Modi government that took a stance against Huawei in 5G trials? We did not permit Huawei, the world #1 company, in 5G trials precisely because of the data concerns it comes with. And finally, Lokesh, you need to understand, when we say Chinese FDI, we talk about the Chinese companies buying stakes in sensitive Indian companies, which would have made the data of the Indian people vulnerable, and that is what
we
the
can have this debate. This, seems never ending. Let's quickly shift our attention to the other big story we are tracking, viewers.